A great way to learn about expressions is to look at templates. Templates created by guys who really know how to work with expressions. Well, it used to be that Adobe included expression templates and other templates with After Effects. Well, they no longer do that, but those old templates are available online. And to simplify the process, I've included those templates inside your working files folder. So what I want to show you is what your workflow might be. When you're working in a project, you might want to access one of those templates to use those expressions inside your project. So to see how that works, go to Working Files, open up After Effects Projects, and go on down and open up 1502 Templates. Now this is as basic a composition as you can have. It's just this TIFF file inside this composition set to HD format. What I want to do is I want to import a template. Now most folks, when they think about templates, they think they have to open them up as a project, but you can import projects into After Effects. You don't have to open them as a separate project. So while you're working on your own project, import a template. Now I'm providing those templates for you inside the Working Files folder, but let me show you the way that most folks will have to track them down. They're first going to go to Help by pressing F1 or going up to Help, going out to the internet here. You need to track down projects here inside the help page. So scroll down, there's projects, click on that. And inside projects, there's a template projects and example projects section. Now it's worth your time to go here just to kind of read up on this stuff anyways. But down here, there's something called the After Effects Exchange. You click on that. And here is the After Effects projects template. Now you can put these guys anywhere in your computer, and just to kind of keep track of them, you might want to put them inside the After Effects folder, wherever you've got After Effects loaded up. But nevertheless, you can put them anywhere. There's also this new template here for using 3D materials inside CS6. That's certainly worth downloading as well. All right, let's go back to After Effects now. I'm going to show you the easy way to get the templates. They're inside the Working Files folder. So just double-click anywhere inside the project panel there, and go out to the desktop, go to Working Files, and open up Other Assets, go to AE Templates. There are two folders here. There's Footage, because some of these templates require some assets, and here's the Templates folder. All these different templates here are great to look at, but the one we're interested here for us is the Expression Sampler. Double-click on that, and that brings it in as a folder with all of these comps. Holy cow, this is really a great way to look at how people create expressions. Let's start out by looking at this first one, Bounce. Double-click on it. That opens up that comp. Let's just play it a little bit. Pretty cool. And you're thinking, okay, a bunch of bouncing little pink and green balls, what good is that? Well, the thing is, these guys are source material for you. You're not looking for the balls. You're looking for the things that make them do what they do. Let me just open up this first one here. This guy right there, that's this first one on the top. Let's see what it looks like here. We've got mask, which we don't need to worry about. That's the mask that caused it to be a circle. And effects and transform. Well, down in transform, we've got an expression associated with position. Let's look at that expression by opening it up here. And oh my gosh, we have to pull this thing down to see all of it. Let's start pulling it down, and oh, it looks like it's going to be a tough one. This is a monstrous looking expression. I'll have to expand it even more. Let's see what we got here. You can pull this down to see all parts of the expression. And if you're looking at that and your eyes are just glazing over, I don't blame you. What we have here are a bunch of variables, amp, frequency, delay. These are things that are defined by the person who created this expression. So amp equals the effect called bounce using its amplitude property. Frequency is the effect called bounce using its frequency property, things like that. So what is this effect called bounce? That really is what's driving this whole expression here. Close this thing down. Inside effects, there's this effect called bounce. I have never heard of the effect called bounce. Let's go to effects and presets here and look up the effect called bounce. B-O-U-N-C-E. All I see here are presets. No effect called bounce. Just a bunch of presets that have the word bounce in them. So what is going on here? Well, what's going on is that somebody who created this expression created a custom effect called bounce. And when they created this custom effect called bounce, they have all these properties in here that they named amplitude, frequency. There is no such thing as a property called amplitude. They just named it that. And they used a controller, and the controller they got from over here in effects and presets. They got it from this thing called expression controls. They built this effect using expression controls. In this particular case, they use what's called the slider control. These guys are all sliders. If you open them up inside the effect controls panel, you'll see that they're all sliders. Right there. And the sliders control the behavior of the expression. So whoever made this put these things in here so that you could keyframe them to cause this thing to behave the way you want them to behave. Pretty slick. So what I want to do is I want to apply this effect, bounce, and I want to apply the expression down here, position. I want to have that be applied to my basketball. So I'm going to click on bounce like that, and I'm going to control click on position, or command click on position. Then I'm going to go control or command C to copy those two guys. Go to my comp one over here, click on the basketball layer, and go control or command V to paste them. And now I've pasted that effect called bounce right there. And I've also pasted the expression into position. And now let's see what happens. It takes on the characteristic of that thing we just saw in the previous comp. Now it's not as dramatic here because it's such a large object to begin with, so the bounce is kind of smallish. But we can overcome that. First of all, we can change the size of this thing. We can knock the scale down so it's a little more appropriate. Now, even though position has an expression, we can still change the position. We can bring it down like so. Let's see if that's the right place for it to go. That makes sense. Because we override it, not that we've changed its behavior, we just are telling it where it should start, not that it should be changed in terms of its expression. Now I want to adjust this effect here. So I'm going to go look at the effect and say amplitude. Let's see the highest position inside the bounce. The highest point's right around there, right? Let's see what that means in terms of amplitude. Well, we can adjust that. We're changing the amplitude here. That's pretty cool. So there we go. Let's try that again. There's a bigger amplitude. And how many bounces do we want to have? Let's see here. Frequency, maybe more than one. Does that change things? Let's see what that does. There you go. So you can cause this thing to behave differently by controlling these little controls over here. You can keyframe these things or just change them, and you get them to behave differently. Let's change the location as well, the position. Even though the position is here to the left, we can take the slider to the right too, and that won't change things. It'll still behave the same way. So great. All right, let's go back over here to the project and take a look at a couple other things. Let's look at jiggle, for example. Let's watch this. Pretty cool. What I'd like to do is take that jiggle element and add that to the basketball. So we'll click on this first one here, open it up, and see what's going on there. Again, the mask isn't any important to us. Let's look at effects. And there's a thing called jiggle. Well, you're not going to find the jiggle effect. This is another custom-built effect using those expression controls again. Let's click on down to your transform and see which has the expression. Scale has the expression here. So the other one was position, so we can use this one as well. So I'm going to click on scale. I'm going to control or command click on jiggle. I'm going to go control or command C to copy those two guys. Go back to my composition, select the layer, and go control or command V to paste it. And that will now paste in the jiggle effect, and will then put in the expression for scale. So let's watch this now. Okay, now it knocks scale back up to 100% because that is the default starting point for this. But let's knock scale down here to override that a bit. There we go. Change the position to bring it down a little bit, like so. Now let's watch. Now we can go back and look at the jiggle properties and say maybe the amplitude might be a little too big or something like that. Maybe it doesn't be quite so wide. There you go. Frequency might be more, perhaps, something like that. Back to the start here. So again, you can adapt these things to suit your purposes. So what I'd like to do now is just show you a few more of these things now that you know that you can apply them to your comp and just give you a sense to see what else is out here. We'll just look at the orbit here, for example. Use expressions to orbit around one thing and then orbit around something else, orbit around that thing. Let's go down here to pendulum, like so. Add a marker. Pretty cool. Going down to, let's say, random motion. Very nice. Random scale. You can always pick these guys up to use on your own projects. Swarm. Now, this is just a bunch of dots swarming around another dot. Just imagine that you have insects that you'd use instead of these dots here, and watch that. And finally, the Z-spring. Let's look at that. So this template in particular, this expressions template, is just a great way to look at expressions, see how folks write expressions, how they customize expressions, and then know that you can take these expressions and use them inside your projects.